So welcome everybody to another Enlightened Vibes. Just feel really comfortable, hang out, just open your mind to some enlightened conversation. Today, we're going to specifically focus in on health. And I don't just mean health, sit-ups and push-ups. I'm talking about health at the cellular level, at the energetic level. And I'll just go on. So first, a disclaimer, not a doctor, not trained and licensed any field of health or medicine. I don't heal anybody. I have no ability to heal your disease or disorder, but I will present you today with enlightened knowledge. But just in case any lawyers are listening, any advice that I give here does not replace the advice of a licensed medical professional. So let me say that. So as I told you, and some of you have, been with me since the beginning. Some of you have, come in on certain, different parts of the path. There are 7 paths to enlightenment that we're going to talk about tonight. Specifically, we're going to focus on the path of health. Coming up on Sunday, every Sunday morning, we do a meditation class, but that really is the beginning of the path of balance. Today, the path of health. I'm writing a book on the path of inner radiance. Absolutely fascinating stuff that I can't wait to go through with some of you, those of you who are interested. There's the path of moral character, the path of kindness and generosity, also known as the path of compassion, the path of conscious creator, and the 7 levels of light, which is a separate teaching that I'll share with you, a very ancient enlightenment teaching that I'll share with you. But each one of these is a separate path to enlightenment. A lot of people say, I can't meditate. I don't know how to meditate. Well, this particular path will get you there, possibly within the next 2 hours. Wouldn't that be great? Will get you there without the need to meditate. But I think meditation's good. If you love meditation, 3 of these paths require meditation, 4 of them don't. But this happens to be one that does not require meditation, but it does require mindfulness, but not meditation. You'll see what I mean. So for those of you who are either coming in the middle or literally this is your first live session with me, there are 4 areas that will eventually get you through. The first, as I said, is that path of balance. That's the meditation class on Sunday morning. Today, obviously, we're talking about health. Last week, we talked about the thought matrix, and the week before that, I believe it. Well, I could have my weeks wrong. The abundance blueprint. So these are 4 of the basic steps that I want everybody to cover. So as we consider, as we talked about as an organization on Monday night when we had our organizational meeting, how do we introduce people to this? So I've been doing some thinking. These are the 4 things that I want beginning people to cycle through before we go deeper. Having said that, you could spend your whole life on any one of these and just find amazing realizations just would keep coming to you and coming to you. So any one of these is wonderful, but I think it's important that at least those people who are here as students and really do want to study this stuff and incorporate, these are going to be the 4 elements that you're going to talk about. So I'm kind of leaving it to you to go get these done. I do have a video up on YouTube about like a 2-hour video on the thought matrix, or maybe it's 90 minutes, and another 90-minute video on the abundance blueprint. Those are on YouTube under the Enlightened Vibes. This also will be recorded and put on YouTube as well, this path of health. So when we think about health, I don't think about health the way other people do. We focus on 5 different areas. Like I said, I'm not talking about push-ups and sit-ups and how much you can bench and how fast you can run a 5K. That's separate. That's different. I'm talking about health at the cellular level, health at the energetic level. There are 5 areas that we're going to focus on tonight. The first is breathing. The second is posture. The third is actually cultivating your energy. The fourth is walking or some sort of exercise routine that everybody needs to do. And the 5th is food. So let's, without further ado, let's talk about health. So health really is the center of your life. Health is at the center of your life. And at the very center of health is breathing. Expanding your lung capacity, breathing. Health is the most important aspect you can do. You've been given this extraordinary gift, extraordinary, that we all take for granted. You can't help but take it for granted because as soon as you stop thinking about it, you forget to realize how incredible You have over 40 trillion cells. You have dozens of complex systems that communicate and interact perfectly. Your body is intelligent. It has its own ability to heal itself, no matter how much you would abuse your body for how many years. It'll still try to make you healthy. And in fact, I use the analogy of your body is like a faithful husband or wife. Yeah, so health is like a faithful spouse. No matter how many times you cheat, that spouse is there for you, working for you, doing everything it's possible. Your body will do everything until your last breath. Your body is always trying to make you healthy. But at the very, very, very center of your health is your breath. If you don't, and this is from all enlightenment traditions have been focused on the breath. It's very important to understand this. The first thing I want to share with you, I shared with you in the meditation class a breath that will activate or tickle or energize your chakras, and that's important. But what I'm going to share with you today is the need for every single day. I do it morning and night. It's part of my morning routine, part of my evening routine. You want to expand your lung capacity. You want to pull in as much air as possible. The way we get energy is from the outside world. We get it through our food, but the majority of the chi, the prana, the life force that comes into our body comes through the air that we breathe. There's an infinite amount of it. All you have to do is breathe it in. We breathe like little tiny little sips of air. I'm going to show you a couple of just one deep breathing technique that works well for me. So I'm not going to stand up, but I do this standing. But you can also do it sitting. So what I want you to do, and the eyes open, just relax your diaphragm. And I just want to explore the breath for a minute, a couple of different elements of the breath. So just relax your diaphragm and just find your diaphragmatic breathing. You all understand that your lungs they have no muscles. Your lungs have no muscles. They have no ligaments or tendons attached to them. They're literally just free hanging from your throat. Then you have your, whatever that thing's called, your tube, and then your lungs just hang there. And they're held in place by the diaphragm underneath and by the ribs and the muscles that push in and by the back muscles. So they're held into place. So our job in expanding our lungs is to do three things. Relax the diaphragm, which pushes it away. That's the way you normally breathe. When you relax your diaphragm, air automatically comes in. It happens automatically. So we're going to relax our diaphragm. In the second part of the breath, I want you to start to get in touch with, and again, use your inner sight to get in touch with these. In between each rib is a very thin muscle. They're called your intracostals or intercostals. I'm sorry. They're your intercostal muscles. And what I want you to see is when you just breathe diaphragmatically, I want you to see how the very bottom of your ribs, if you just take a nice relaxed diaphragmatic breath, you can feel how the very bottom of your ribs, ever so slowly ebb in and out. What we're going to do is intentionally attach ourselves to the intercostal muscles and expand the ribs. Because the more you can pull your ribs away from your body, the more air gets into your lungs. This is the center of your health. The more you can pull your ribs apart. So it took me a while to even understand about the intercostals. And once I found them, it took me another, months to kind of get better. You'll get better at it much faster. You're going to find your intercostals and just pull your inner. So the first, it's a two-step breath. The first is a diaphragmatic expansion. I breathe in the second with my mouth and I pull in as much air as I can. And I'm not intentionally pulling air. What I'm really doing is pulling my lungs away from my ribs, because if I don't, they're going to keep pressing in on my ribs. And then the third element of the breath is your large back muscles, which may or may not be pushed against a chair right now, but that's okay, because you can, again, intentionally expand the back muscles. And what you want to do, you can do this in the morning looking in the mirror, right? Just take a big breath, as big as you can. You want to hold it at the top. And I'll give you a couple more pointers. You want to hold it at the top for probably maybe 10 heartbeats, 8, 10, 12 seconds, something like that. Don't let it go right away. Hold it, keep your lungs expanded as much as possible, and then exhale. Let them go exhale every last ounce of carbon dioxide, then do it again. and then exhale again and do it a third time, each time holding that breath in. Because what happens is, and we're talking about now vibratory health, okay? We're talking about vibratory health here. When you breathe this little tiny bit of air, if you would follow what happens to the air, there's two things in the air that you breathe. There's the oxygen that every cell needs, and then there's what I call the vital life force. You might call it chi or prana. I call it VLF, vital life force. And it's in the air. And when you breathe it in, it goes into your lungs. The blood cells get pumped to your heart, pumps your blood cells to the lungs. They go to all the little capillaries, the alveoli, and the blood cells take whatever oxygen and life force they can from the alveoli, and then it goes back to the heart, and boom, one giant pump, and that oxygenated blood goes out to every part of your body, every cell in your body, your brain, your liver, your feet, your toes, everything. So that's how you live. This is how you this is how you live. You don't breathe, you don't live. So what happens is we have been breathing mostly our whole lives essentially at a tiny, tiny, tiny little fraction of our ability. The tiniest little fraction you can imagine. Just this one diaphragmatic, just a diaphragmatic rib expansion, back expansion breath probably will triple the amount of air that you take. Now, you don't have to breathe like that every day, every breath. But if you get into the habit, those muscles will start to get some muscle memory. And in general, you'll start to breathe just a little bit deeper. And when you take in just the smallest amount, well, the cell is sitting there waiting for the red blood cell to come down the capillary. And here comes the red blood cell, and the cell, it locks up with the cell. And the cell is saying, great, I'm so glad you're here, man. I need some oxygen. I need some life force. And it looks at the cell and goes, is that all you got, dude? Just that little bit? All right, I'll take it. And so the cell takes this little bit of oxygen, this little bit of vital life force, and then goes and does whatever cells do their work. They create their waste. They do the little thing, and they exhale the carbon dioxide into the blood cell. The blood cell now takes it back to the heart, and it gets pumped to the lungs. It gets oxygen again. When you breathe in like we were just doing, we'll do it again. When you breathe in like that, you are literally waking your cells up. Now, the first time you do it, they don't believe you because they're just going to continue to operate at a low level. So you can imagine you're operating at the lowest vibratory level you can imagine. When you start to breathe deeply, not just morning and night, but throughout the day, when you make that a habit, and this is not a meditation. This isn't breathe in through your nose. There's none of that. This is how much air I can possibly get into my lungs. I don't care how I get it in there. If it's the nose, the mouth, the ears, any way you can take air in, fill your lungs up, because when the depleted blood cells come, all of a sudden there's every single alveoli is filled up with air, and every single blood cell is now getting a full dose of oxygen, and it goes back to the heart and it pumps out. And now these cells, your brain cells, your liver cells, it comes down and oh, heck yeah, I love this. And it takes a deep breath, and now it can start, your cells actually start to operate at a higher vibratory level. It takes about 3 weeks, but maybe it'll happen for you sooner. But you can actually feel your level go up. You can actually feel your energetic level go up. So it's essential. Let's do it again. Relax. I do this in front of the mirror. Again, this is not a meditation. This is not a spiritual thing. This is getting as much oxygen as you can into the system to raise your vibratory rate. This is all about health, okay? All about health. Hey, there I go. All right, so diaphragmatic breathing. Just catch 2 or 3 diaphragmatic breaths. On the third one, I'm going to breathe a little. Now, when I'm saying breathe deep, I don't mean breathe faster. Breathe deeper and longer. Diaphragm first. Pull your ribs apart. Relax your back muscles. You can sip more air in if you can sip more air in. Hold it 7, 8 seconds. And exhale. Going to give you 2 tips. Number 1, when you're fully breathed in, keep your shoulders relaxed. Don't tense up. Just keep your shoulders relaxed. And number 2, keep your elbows away from your body. Because what happens, you can feel as soon as you put your elbows down, you literally can feel how it compresses your lungs. It pushes the little lat muscles in, and the lat muscles push the lungs, push the ribs in. And so as you breathe, you can just keep them like on a chair handle, for example, or you can That's what I do in front of the mirror. Keep my elbows away from the body. And then a pro tip, but you'll pass out if you do this in the beginning, is just to no, don't clasp your fingers. Just hold your fingers because you don't want any tension, right? Just hold your fingers like that. Make sense? We're not talking spirituality here. We're not talking deep enlightenment. This is just how can you get on a regular basis, get into a habit of hyperoxygenating yourself. I have two videos of this on YouTube. I'll put on the link, or maybe someone can go to YouTube and find them and put the link on for me. But there's two videos. The first one explains how your cells work and why it's so important to breathe. And the second one is this, and it probably has 5 or 6 more tips that I forgot about, how to take that full lung expansion breath. So that's the what I really wanted to share with you about breathing. Breathing is the center of your health. This is the center of it. Breathing. You have to breathe all the time, otherwise you're unalive. So it's essentially the one thing that makes you alive. Why? Because you need the vital life force that's in the air to breathe, to live, for the cells to operate. You need the oxygen for the cells to operate. If you don't have that, you just live at a lower and lower and lower and lower level of vibration. You come to some comfort zone down here at a very low level, and you just are a low vibratory rate. And there's no reason to live like that if you don't want to. It's kind of just a way to wake you up. All right, here we go. All right, so that's what we just did. Take a few deep breaths. Do it one more time just so you can do it, just so you get the feel of it. Maybe make it a habit. And you could do this while you're waiting in line at the bank. You can do this while you're watching television. You can do this while you're driving. This is not just something you want to do, 2 or 3 breaths in the morning and 3 breaths at night. You could do this while you're brushing your teeth, or after you brush your teeth, before you do it while you're looking in the mirror. Do it all the time. The more you do it, it's your thing now, right? I give this gift to you. If you use it, you'll actually feel your vibratory rate increase.
I have a gift. Can you hear me? Okay, my gift is my grandpa taught me a trick a long time ago. It's hard to explain, but you do all of the things that Alan just said, and you do a thing that I called eating air. So when you have the hiccups and you all of a sudden have the hiccups, it could last forever. It could, who knows how long it's going to last. I can get rid of them. You just simply do it just like this. You take deep breaths, expand your chest as far as you can get it out. And then the eating air part is like this. So you take a deep breath. I'm just forcing more and more and
Right.
more air into my lungs to expand it until you just cannot anymore. You're an overachiever right now, okay? Because you're trying to get rid of the hiccups. And then you hold it as long as possible. And then you let it out, and your hiccups are gone. And I guarantee you it's the first try 90% of the time.
Yeah.
You're
So
welcome.
so yeah, that's like sipping more air in, eating the air. Good. I was going to say something, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. There's well, anyway. Okay. Thank you for that, Shelley. This is the video. It's called Hyperoxygenate Yourselves. It's a 13-minute video. I'm not going to do that. But it's on YouTube. And just search for Alan Gordon. It's actually in the resources. You could see my YouTube channel. All right, let's talk about posture. This is the second real, again, nothing spiritual about this, but this is so important, right? Our posture as Americans is awful. My posture was absolutely awful. I used to walk like this with my head down, shoulders slumped. This is as recently as maybe 6 or 7 years ago. I walked like that. What you want to do is you want to learn how to stand up straight, sit straight without putting in any effort. So I'm going to give you 3 checkpoints in your posture. You can all stand up and do this. It also works while you're sitting down. But the first one, let's do standing up. Well, you guys stand up. I have to talk in the microphone. The first thing is you want to find your sacrum. You don't want your sacrum tipped over. You don't want to be tipped over your sacrum. Just want to find it and relax, roll your hips around, find your sacrum. That's checkpoint number one. The sacrum is that triangular bone that bears all the weight of your body and then distributes that weight to the two thigh bones. It's like the keystone of your architecture. If you were a bridge, you know those circular bridges. There's one stone that's cut into an angle that captures all the pressure on that one stone. That's what your sacrum is. That's the first checkpoint that you have. The second checkpoint is your lowest ribs, just at the very bottom of your lowest ribs. You don't want that to be collapsed. You don't want to go crazy with it either. You just have like a little magnet on them and they just come out. And then the third is your shoulders and your head. I personally go to a chiropractor once a month. Most people are not going to go to a chiropractor. And by the way, it can take you 2, 3 years to find a good chiropractor. You can go through 10 chiropractors before you find one that you like. But you have to forget the chiropractor. You have to take responsibility for your posture yourself. Your head is just if you just right now, if you're sitting, if you're right now, I want you to realize that what I'm telling you is true. Your head is a 12-pound bowling ball. The minute you tip it forward, which we all do with the phone and the computer and the whole thing. The minute you tip your head forward, you can feel it pulls your neck, it pulls your spine, it pulls everything out of alignment. It strains the ligaments and the tendons along your spine. It strains the top muscles, your neck muscles. It is a 12-pound bowling ball. So you have to learn how to stand, not, and then I said this to my chiropractor. I feel like if I stand up straight, like people will think I'm looking down my nose. You know what he said to me? He said, Alan, nobody gives a shit how you stand. Like everyone's on their own, everyone's in their own little journey. They don't care what you're doing. They don't say, oh, Alan's different today. He's standing up straight. They don't care. Don't be self-conscious about it. It doesn't matter. He said, thank you for that. Just stand up straight. And the reason you do that is number one, you'll dramatically reduce the wear and tear on your back muscles dramatically. And number two, it allows the energy to flow freely. It allows your nervous system to act without interference. It frees up your whole central nervous system, your chakra system. It's a beautiful thing. Right. And when you're like this, and you can just, if you do it sitting down too, if you feel like you're sitting and you collapse your sacrum, you can feel that. That's what most people do when they sit. They just collapse the sacrum, and then the rib points go down and the neck comes down. So you fix it. 1, 2, 3. Sacrum, the lowest rib, the bottom of your ribs, and like when they say in the army, head up, chest out, stomach in. This is how you get there. But this should be no effort. This shouldn't be an effort. It's different, but it's not an effort, if that makes sense. It might feel different, might feel weird, but it's definitely not an effort. It's not anything that's hard to do, but it's something you have to be mindful. So every time I stand up, let's say I'm watching TV and I stand up, the first thing, by habit now, the first thing I just think about here, because this also, if you correct any one of them, all three come into alignment. So as soon as I stand up, I feel myself walking like this. I just feel these two bottom ribs, and that's all I have to do. That's my little reminder point.
Can you please tell me what we're supposed to do with the ribs again?
Yeah. So the first alignment point is your sacrum. Got that. The
Got that.
second is if you feel below, right at the very bottom of your ribs, that's the
Mhm.
point that you want to put like a little magnet on. You want to put your inner sight on that, and you never want that to collapse. You want that to not collapse. Just stay structured, and not any effort. Just keep it structured, and then your neck and chin become structured too.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
As soon as so if you're sitting, and again, you're gonna, this is something you get better at over time, right? So you're gonna be typing one day and you're gonna feel all of a sudden how collapsed you are. And all you gotta do is sacrum, ribs, head, like that. And this is another thing too, when you're meditating, you want to keep your elbows back. You don't want to meditate with your elbows forward because that's going to pull you out of alignment. So if I'm meditating, they say to stand up straight. In China, they say, imagine like you're a weed and there's a weed growing on your head and someone's pulling the weed. You want to extend that last couple of vertebrae. So when you're meditating, you want, if you can think about it, you don't want to be collapsed. And the way to avoid that is don't put your hands out. Keep your elbows back. Because if you put your hands forward, like let's say you put your hands on your knees, that could pull you forward and pull everything forward. So just be aware of it. You now have 3 checkpoints: sacrum, bottom of your ribs, head and neck. That's it. So that's all I'm going to share with you. Make it yours. And God bless you. I hope it works for you because it's really a difference maker. It took me about 4 years to straighten out my posture, and now I feel pretty good about it. I give myself maybe a B plus, A minus, where I was getting like a D or maybe an F. So one more thing that I'll share with you is something that I do every morning and every night. There are very few things, at night you go to sleep and you start thinking about things that you forgot. Um, there are very few things that'll get me out of bed except the spinal stretch. Like the breathing, if I didn't do my deep breathing, I'll just do it while I'm lying in bed. I'll just take a big deep breath while I'm lying in bed. But this one gets me out of bed, the spinal stretch. This one I've been doing for about 4 or 5 years. I mean, probably if I had to say, because you wouldn't, nobody knows me from 4 years ago, but in 2018 I weighed 232 pounds. I weigh 175 right now, so I've lost about 57 pounds, and I would say, and 1,000 times more energetic. 1,000 times more energetic. I am as healthy today as when I was in my early 30s, maybe more. I have some old people problems that are just obviously not ever going to go away. That's just it. But having said that, maybe they will go away, but I don't think so. I have head problems. I have a couple other issues, but my health is 1,000 levels higher than it was 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And this spinal stretch is I would say the main, well, the flowing through the chakras, the energy stuff that I talked about, and I'm going to talk about more, is number one. That makes you lose weight right away because well, I'll talk about that when I get there. But this spinal stretch is huge. So the spinal stretch, everybody stand up and I'll kind of talk you through it. So stand up, and it's really important with the spinal stretch that you focus on these bottom ribs. So you want to stand up straight, not like a soldier, but you can relax and, just kind of feel your sacrum and, get your balance, right? But you really want to put your focus here, and you want your head to be straight. And what you're going to do is vertebrae by vertebrae. The very first thing you're going to do is just lower your chin, but you make sure as you lower your chin, the whole rest of your body doesn't collapse. Lower your chin and keep these bottom ribs out. Pay attention to the bottom ribs, and just keep lowering and lowering and lowering and lowering. And even as you bend over, still pay attention to these bottom ribs, because if you let go of them, you'll collapse and you'll bend over. I should also say, with a health warning, when you bend down, just be careful. You have to be healthy, and you will be bending down. So you want to bend all the way down, literally as slowly as you can, vertebrae by vertebrae. This is just the first time you're doing it. By the 100th time you do it, you'll actually start to feel the vertebrae. So you may not feel anything, but you want to make sure when you do it that you don't lose your posture before you even start. You want to keep, and then when you stand up, this is really important. When you stand up, you don't use any effort whatsoever. You put your mind in between your heel and the balls of your feet, and you stand up from that point. Don't stand up with any muscles. Just put your mind, and when you're down, when your head's down and you're ready to come up, you don't come up with your, just come up right from that point between your heels and and the balls of your feet. That's where your mind is. That's what's going to push you up. Don't use any muscles to push up. Again, I have a video on this on YouTube, and I'll link you to it as well. But I do this every morning, every night. Like I said, there's the one thing I will jump out of bed at 11:30. Shit, forgot to do my spinal. I can forget everything else and still go to sleep. But if I forget this, I will jump up out of bed. This has been a life changer for me. And we'll talk about it more. There's a video, like I said, on YouTube.
It's it's such a coincidence that I started doing this exact exercise this morning as part of my big plan to and it was part of a lymphatic drainage um effort.
Hmm.
That was part of it. So I actually was already doing that exact thing this morning. What are the odds? That's so strange.
Very high
Coincidence,
odds that that would even happen, or low odds.
right?
Yeah, but again, it's really important that you don't when you stand up, you have to, I wouldn't say suck your diaphragm in. So when you're totally down and your head's down and your fingers are near the floor, you want to keep your stomach in. You don't want to let your stomach prolapse. You want to let your stomach in because that's going to support the lower spinal back muscles. And you don't want to stand up from anything other than right between your feet. That's where all the center of gravity is, right between the balls of the feet and the heels. All right, next, we're going to talk about energy cultivation. So I hear what you're saying. Alan, all five of these are about energy. Yes, all five of these are about energy. That's the secret. Remember in the meditation class, I told you to replace the word meditation with what? What's the word? Replace the word meditation with
Balance,
balance.
balance.
Replace the word health with energy. That's what your health is. If you tell me you had a healthy day today, that means you felt your energy flowing. Your energy is flowing. All your health is about flowing your energy. Okay. So there were four things. I can visually show you a couple. Um, Grounding. I have a grounding exercise that I do, and you don't have to go through a whole 20 thing Tai Chi thing and 10 years of Tai Chi and qigong and all that stuff. This is really you because you can't focus your whole life on this. You just have to create a few healthy habits so that by automatic, by breathing, by spinal stretching, by your posture, by grounding, by pumping the energy, by doing self-massage, little tiny little habits throughout the day that so you don't have to worry about your health. You want to put your health on autopilot. It shouldn't be your obsession. So I'm giving you a series of habits that you can put on autopilot so you don't have to obsess. You don't have to pay someone, to go learn Qigong or Tai Chi or whatever the thing is. You don't have to spend 20 years. You don't have to, because they don't know what they're doing either. Right. So I'm going to show you the basics. So the first thing you do, if I stand up, what would happen? All right. So the first thing I do is grounding. So I just keep my hands here near my lower dantian or sacrum. You can do it with breath or without breath. It doesn't really matter. That's not the point. The point is just every day, first thing in the morning, to just your chi, if you understand the way your energy works, it's very raggedy. It's all over the place. Things are like a bunch of atoms bouncing all over the place. And all you want to do is I just do this, breathe in, hands over my head, expand again like this. I feel the energy going right through my fingertips, feel the energy going right through there. Stay there as long as I want, bliss out for a minute, enjoy it, breathe deep. And then as I'm exhaling, one. I do that 3 times. Just keep doing that. And what I'm going to tell you is don't expect like every single one to be this explosion, this psychic phenomenon. Oh my God, like this is so amazing. It's the habit that you're developing, the habit that you're developing. Do this every day. That's the habit. That's the important thing is the habit that you do it. It doesn't matter if you feel the energy. It doesn't matter if you experience anything. You're just developing a habit. And what's happening is energy works very gently. Like you don't even like the energy system. It's like when you go to work, like you're 20 pounds overweight and you go to work out at the gym, you don't lose 20 pounds right away. The first day you barely notice anything. Um, that's the way this is. You barely notice anything, but what you're doing is you're creating a channel, a pathway, a habit for the energy to flow through you and then to bring yourself to ground and push all that energy right down through your root chakra, all the way down through your legs, down through your feet, into the ground. When you're at the bottom, you can't see my hands, but I kind of do a little circle sometimes. Also, I'll roll on my feet from the left, from the outside to the inside of my feet, forward and back. I roll on my feet, and your feet are a big part of your energy system. Big, big part of your energy system. We'll talk about that when we talk about self-massage in 2 seconds. There's another one, which I can't show you on the camera. Um, so I do that 3 times, but you don't always want to ground yourself. When you're feeling the flow, you don't want to ground yourself. When you're happy and you're feeling healthy and you do not want to ground yourself. You want to ground yourself in the morning and at night, and when you're all frazzled, that's when you want to ground yourself. When you're in the flow, you want to pump your energy. So it's the same thing. Well, it's not the same thing. It's a spinal stretch down at, I take my hands and I scoop the energy off of the ground. I can't do it here because my chair is there, but I put my head all the way down. I duck down. I scoop up like I'm scooping up a cloud of energy. I bring it up. I stop here. I do the same thing. And then as I exhale, instead of grounding myself, I do the opposite. And I let all the energy, like all the light, just come right through my body, my arms, the whole thing. So this is going to pump your energy up, right? This is going to really get it flowing. Grounding is just to kind of get you grounded and connected. You don't always want to ground. You ground when you need to ground. You pump your
Yeah, I'm
energy when you're feeling good
open.
and you want to pump your energy. Or like right before this class, 20 minutes ago, I pumped my energy up. You want to pump your energy when you want to be alive. So again, I don't have a video on that one. I'll make a video, or if anybody's interested on that, we'll have maybe a class and I can change the camera angle. All right. Any questions yet? Okay. The next is self-massage. I do this all the time while I'm watching television. I studied martial arts. What got me on the health journey was I put myself into a martial arts class and I studied Wing Chun. And in Wing Chun, it's all about the energy flowing through your body. And so I stretch my fingers. I start from my fingers. I stretch my wrist. I massage every single soft spot in my hand. There are energy centers right here. The energy flows primarily through these last 2 fingers. There's energy centers. There's another energy center right here. I watch TV. I do this every day for the last 5, 6, 7 years. I don't have any blockages in my system other than mental blocks. But I massage my I massage my hands, I massage and I'll just, again, you could do this while you're watching TV. These bones, if this hurts, that's a good thing. Every time you feel like, ow, that hurts, that's a good thing, right? You don't want to hurt yourself, but you want to keep massaging until it doesn't hurt. You massage your knuckles. I'm 65. Arthritis is far away from me. It's way over there. If I stop doing this, arthritis will get closer. But I massage every joint in my body, right? And then I go up here. There are many different pressure points here. You massage your arm. And I could go on and on. You need to massage underneath your arm, behind your arm. There's this lat muscle has a lymph gland in it. You want to massage that every day. I do that every time I take a shower. I spend extra time massaging here, under the arm, massaging, etc. Your arms, but you're not done. You want to massage your face. Do that now.
We're all like, I don't know about that.
This is something I do. I do a whole body massage every morning when I wake up. So this is part of my morning routine. I massage my ear. These things used to hurt, man. The ears, they used to hurt. The earlobes, to squeeze on them would really, really hurt. But there's all kinds of great, in India, they call them marma points. In China, they call them acupuncture points. They're all over your face, your ears, behind your ears. I massage my jawbone. I do the whole thing, my throat. I massage my neck, shoulders, the whole thing. This shoulder. Okay, some other really important points are right here in that hollow. You can feel there's a real tender spot right there. That's a really big chakra or pressure point or knot that can build up. You want to really circularly relax that one. There's another really important point on right on your breastplate, right to the, I don't remember it's whichever rib it is, but you want to massage there. Nipples, there I said it. Okay. Then your stomach, because this is where a lot of energy, there's a lot of energy, right? I just massage my ribs, my intercostals, there, and anywhere you feel pressure. And then when I'm sitting with my legs crossed, again, watching
What?
TV, I just take my shoes off and
Don't
massage my
this
feet
guy.
for hours. The more you do it, the
What day
more
did we get
benefit you're
that?
going to get
Don't.
in weeks and months to come.
No.
So anyway, the more benefit you're going to get. So I massage my feet. There's very tender spots in your feet. Okay. All right. So massage your legs right above your knee to the inside of your knee are other pressure points. Just keep going, and you'll find it in your calf, right along the bone on the inside of your calf is a very tender point. Your feet have tender points. If you have not been doing self-massage, you're going to thank me. You're going to thank me. It's a beautiful thing. It just feels so much better. And the more it hurts, the better, the more you really needed to do it. It doesn't feel good, it hurts, but the more you really needed to do it. The chakra activation we talked about, we can just do 3 of those breaths right now. You start with a ball of light in your root chakra. As you breathe in, I know some of you haven't taken the meditation class, but you'll take it on Sunday. As you breathe in slowly, you feel that light going through the spine, the central channel, tickling each of the chakras. So you want to activate your chakras every day. And then I'm going to tell you beyond that. So just do 2 or 3 of those. And then I'm going to demystify something else here. I do this during my meditation. When I'm finished with that, the next thing I'll do is I will say the word Om again, not for any spiritual reason, but when I say Om, I feel the vibration along my central channel, all the chakras. And I use my inner sight. So when I say Om, I feel it humming from here all the way down. Every single chakra is being vibrated. I'm using the word Om not for a spiritual reason or any other reason other than to create a vibration in my body. And I'm using my inner sight to massage those chakras. And it's interesting. I have a much deeper chakra activation meditation. I had it recorded and I lost it. I'll have to re-record it. So if anybody's interested in sitting in that session, I'll re-record it. A really, really good, like thorough one by one vibrating your chakras. What I showed you in the meditation class is like a tickling technique. This other one is like taking an electric toothbrush and going brrr, right to each chakra. Brrr, brrr. And it's really, really good. But in general, just a nice gentle om and just let the go on and feel that vibration. Just invite the vibration into your central channel. And then I use these 2 things. I use a bow staff and ropes. I'll probably have to do that as a separate thing. I could make 100 videos on those, all the different things that I do. Um, I have 3 bow staffs. I use a 5 foot bow staff for inside because my wife doesn't like when I punch holes in the ceiling. So I use a 5 foot bow staff when I'm inside. I use a 5.5 foot bow staff in my basement because it doesn't have a drop ceiling, so I have extra room at the top. And I use a 6 foot bow staff outside. The 6 foot bow staff is made of wood. It's much heavier. The bow staff, what it does is you hold it and you just spin it. There's 100 different ways to spin it. You can spin it forward, backwards, 2 hands, 1 hand. You can do all kinds of things. But basically, you're creating spirals. You're creating spirals of energy that the bow staff creates the energy, and that spirals right in through your shoulder. You can feel it spiraling in your shoulder. It's very, very healthy thing. I put it in here, even though I know I'm not going to be able to show you the bow staff and the ropes, but we'll make a separate date to do that. Um, We'll just make a separate date to do that. But I will tell you there, it's phenomenal. And if you have any questions about that, or if anybody's interested in doing that, just let me know. All right. Any questions, thoughts, comments? So I want to point out energy cultivation, posture is allowing the energy to flow more freely, and breathing is energy acquisition. So you're breathing the energy, you're getting way more energy into your system, which is going to rise you to a higher vibratory rate. You're going to improve your posture, straighten your posture out. Some people don't have a problem with it. I personally had a real problem with it. Um, you're going to straighten your posture out so everything can flow more freely because the energy runs essentially along your bones. It runs right through your joints. The energy runs, from your main body. It runs right through your joints. If your joints are blocked up, the energy doesn't flow. If any of these joints, all the knuckles, it just doesn't flow. So you have to do all of these things to let the energy flow. And then, of course, in cultivating, you want to pump the energy. And again, for those who are interested, I'll do a separate one where maybe I'll get a different camera angle. But I did want to mention these things, if not fully cover them today. But the self massage, just as simple as none of these things, well, except the bow staff costs a couple of bucks and the ropes is less than $20. But this doesn't really cost money. You shouldn't be paying to do this. This is all stuff you should be doing every morning and every night, every morning and every night, every morning and every night. Do it every time you stand up from the television. Do it while you're watching TV. Massage your hands, stretch your fingers, stretch your shoulders. Just get yourself more limber. Don't sit for 40 hours. And if you sit all the time, then you have an obligation to stand up, breathe, stretch, be flexible. Your spine, if I find it, I can find. Here it is. I got this thing from our bathroom. This is your spine. Your spine it's very strong. It was meant to be flexible. It's very, very strong. You can't break it. So you have to learn to stretch it. Every single little joint has to be stretched. Every vertebrae has tendons attached from all four directions. Those need to be stretched. Energy, blood needs to flow through your bones and flow through those joints and the ligaments. You have to get your blood flowing. You have to get your energy flowing. You have to do that. Now, I call this walking, but it's really a weekly exercise. You have to exercise at least twice a week. And when I say that, I mean to get your heart rate up twice a week. Now, walking gets my heart rate to about 75, 80. I happen to live in the hills of Georgia. So when on my street's like a 45-degree angle, just to get up to the corner, I have to climb up a hill and then go down a giant hill and then make a circle and come back up the hill. So I'm dealing with hills, which is also very healthy for your joints and your feet and your legs. But anyway, you have to walk. Let's just say you're not an exerciser. You have to get out and walk. A lot of people are stuck inside. Their life is primarily an inside life. Well, that's basically what we've become, right? So most of us are inside people. You have to get outside and you have to walk. Not just enjoy the sunset, you have to walk. We were built as human beings to walk. This is what we're supposed to be doing. When a dog stops walking, he's dying, right? The only reason a dog would ever stop walking is there's something really wrong with him. He doesn't want to walk anymore. I had a dog, they just wouldn't walk. He was dying. You have to walk. We kill ourselves. We don't wait till we die. Walking is also a beautiful time to disengage and linger and bliss out and practice your other meditations and practice your disengaging. I'm going to show you it's not even a meditation, another technique tonight. But you've got to do walking. I play tennis. And what you really have to do is you have to set your life up so these things just happen automatically, right? You have to set your life up so, in the beginning, you're thinking about these things. You're planning them. You're writing them down, Tasha, right? You're thinking about them, right? In the beginning, that's what you have to do. But that's not the goal. The goal is to integrate this into your DNA. So you just become, every time you stand up, every time you feel yourself walking away from the TV, turn the TV off, and I stand up and I feel like this, it's now part of me. Like I don't have to think about it. I don't have to write it down. I don't have to say, did I do it or not? My posture is now a thing. Walking is now a thing. Stretching, the spinal stretch, the breathing. You want to integrate these things into your life. In the beginning, you have to put effort to train yourself. I don't want to feel like doing it today. Oh man, I forgot to do my morning breath. Like it's a problem because it's new. You're breaking yourself out of your comfort zone. But eventually, you have to weave this. This will become your comfort zone. And so the goal is for you to be an energetic person. The goal is for you, and no matter you, and you could just, if you can learn how to just pump and flow the energy in your body, I would say that's probably 50, 60% of the reason how I lost weight. It dehydrates me. I need constant water. Just sitting there watching television, I need constant because my energy is flowing, and it burns up energy. It burns fat. It's the best way to lose weight is just to get your energy. And if you understand, it would be more accurate to call yourself an energetic body than a physical body. It would be more accurate to call yourself an energetic body. When that body flows, when that flows, everything is healed. When there are blockages in the energetic body, everything is obstructed. You have joint pain, you have arthritis, you have illnesses, all kinds of things, right? So you really want this energy to flow. And all of these things I'm talking about, you want to write them down. You want to work really hard. You want to overthink it now, get this into your life, and then boop, forget it. And then it's just spinning on its own. You just want to get your health, your energy spinning so you don't have to be thinking about it anymore. You want this to be your new comfort zone. And once you feel this energy, you're not going to want to not have it anymore. You'll actually literally feel your whole body wake up to it 2 or 3 vibratory levels higher. It's a fascinating experience. Some of you people, I'm jealous, are in your 20s. And some people, I'm 65. So one of the things that old people say is, it's like too late for me. I don't want to do all this. I'm already in my 60s. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, here's one thing I will tell you. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how badly your body has been neglected. I really don't care. One thing I promise you, in 10 years, you will look back and say, I wish I had the energy I had 10 years ago. You might be a freaking wreck, but 10 years from now, you're going to be a much worse wreck. So you're going to look back and say, I wish I would have started 10 years ago. I wish I would have had that energy and vitality. The mindset is essential. Right? I'm too old to do this. No, you're not. You're too old not to start. You have to, even if you're 70, you have to start. And your future, literally, your future is decided today. Are you going to be walking around with an oxygen tank, on your back and tubes in your nose on your walker, walking into Walmart, or are you going to be jumping up 2 steps at a time? You can do this. You can it 100% that future is decided today. This is why I love studying health, because health is the one thing that you can visually see. You can't see a lot of the other things we do, conscious creation and compassion, and you can't see those things. They're invisible. And you can't see your health either, but you can experience it more so than anything else. You know that if you do the work today, you literally can feel the results tomorrow, the next day, next week, next month. In the Shaolin Temple, they had a saying. It was called 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years. Do something for 3 days, you begin to set the kernel of a habit. Do it for 3 weeks, it's now a habit. Do it for 3 months, it's now an embedded habit. Do it for 3 years, and you get all the benefit of it. It just gets better and better and better and better. 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years. Just do this work for the next 3 days, overdo it, then do it for the rest of the 3 weeks. Then it becomes a habit. And after 3 months, you'll look back. I promise you, I'll look forward to interviewing you. I promise you, even in 3 weeks, you're going to feel so much better. But more important than that, you're going to feel like you're in control of your health. You're going to feel like you have a plan, an agenda, and that's really what's important. So let's talk about the abundance blueprint. And you can create, we're not going to go through the whole exercise today. But I want to just share the abundance blueprint. It involves 3 essential elements. Take control is the first one. I also included gratitude as it relates to your body. We are particularly unappreciative of this body that we have. We have no idea. I mean, this is a beautiful gift we've been given. And that's why I put it right in the center of the thought matrix. Health. Health is the most important responsibility you have. I don't care about anything else. If you're healthy, you're good. And as I'll show you, health is a path to enlightenment as well. So the first thing you should be doing is every day is on your gratitude list. Thank you for my health, my body, this incredible system that I have. You use your inner sight. You can explore your body. You can get all the way on the inside of it. It's a beautiful thing. So the first element of the abundance blueprint is to take control. You have to be self-reliant. No one's going to wave a magic wand and make you healthier 2 years from now, 3 years from now. It's going to take work. It's going to take new habits. So you have to be self-reliant. And I believe in America, this probably goes back to the 1950s, we lost our health when we abandoned it to doctors. Maybe not you right now, but I can assure you your parents, and I can assure you their parents, if the doctor said to do it, I did it. If the doctor didn't say anything, I didn't have to do anything. We literally abandoned our health decisions to the medical industry. Don't do that. They're not here to help you. The medical industry is not here to help you, at least in our country. It's not set up to help you. They don't care. They just give you pills to mask the diseases that your lifestyle has created. You create through your lifestyle, you create all types of diseases. And all the medical industry does is mask them or repair the problems that you created. Not one doctor. This whole COVID thing, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago now, I'll never forget. I made a video. I think 64 people actually watched it. Maybe it's up to 65 now. I made a video about the one thing the doctors didn't tell you. All this advice on COVID, all this advice on COVID, wash your hands, da 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 da, wear a mask. You know the one thing they didn't tell you? Take deep breaths. COVID was a lung infection. If you had like me, if you had been expanding your lung capacity, even if I had gotten COVID, I wouldn't have known it. It wouldn't have had any impact on me because it was a lung infection. So they tell you all this stuff. Take this pill, take that pill, blah, blah, blah. They don't tell you the most important thing. Breathe, get a good night's sleep, stretch. Eat, I'll talk about food in a minute. But the most important thing I could tell you for anything in life that you want to improve is to be self-reliant. Take control. Nobody's out there helping you. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. The medical industry, a doctor, you go to a doctor, a primary care doctor, they see 40 people a day. I was an umpire. I would umpire a game. There were tournaments that would run all day. I'd umpire a game. By the first inning of the second game, I didn't even remember anything about the first game. Doctors don't care. They can't. They're not in a profession of caring. Therapists, I'll extend it to almost everything. They just want your money. It's just a system that's set up for them to be employed. They're not here to help your health. I could give you so many examples. Lori, unfortunately, her health has gotten a lot worse. She was here about a month and a half ago. She had all kinds of problems from COVID. She was on like 9 different medications. That's not gonna, it's not, that's just gonna kill you. But again, I'm not a doctor. I don't want to tell anyone not to go to a doctor, but just understand the medical system is not set up for your best interest. Just know that. And if you have to use the medical system, be an informed consumer and use it for something specific. I need help with my elbow. I need help with this, right? Don't rely on a doctor to tell you you're healthy or not. The second thing, once you take control of your health, the second thing is you have to learn, you have to educate yourself and make a plan. So now I'm going to come up with a health routine, and I'm sharing my morning routine and my evening routine and my exercise routine, right? Learn as much as you can. Don't do it my way. Don't do it the way the guy on YouTube does it. Just take notes from all of these and say, okay, I'm going to look at all these sources and I'm going to make a plan that I feel comfortable with. That's good for me right now. I'm not competing with anybody. I'm not better than you. I'm not worse than you. I don't care if you're better than me or I don't care. I'm on my own journey. This is your health journey. You're in charge of it. Make a plan that you're comfortable with. And then finally, I would recommend that the plan be simple. Simple, 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 simple. 3 deep breaths, spinal stretch, spin the bow staff, meditate, activate your chakras, whatever whatever else I just said, right? All those other things I just told you. Just make it simple. It's a lot, but it's simple. Don't make it complicated. No, don't hold like the teacher knows all the secrets and I have to do it the teacher's way. This is your plan, but my advice would be to make it simple so you can integrate these habits, because it's all about habits, into your daily life so you don't have to think about them anymore. I don't really think about my health anymore because it's just the way I am. I just am that way. And then finally, the third element of the abundance blueprint, once you've taken control and you've established a plan that you're comfortable with, nothing works unless you establish new habits. You got to get yourself out of your comfort zone. When you feel yourself sitting too long, stand up and stretch. New habit. Oh, but I can't. And it feels weird because, I'm usually just, if you're at work, I used to work in an office and sales, always typing all day, looking at the computer. It felt weird to stand up and stretch because nobody else did it. Just get out of your comfort zone. The problem is, this is where most people fail in improving their lives. They simply don't want to change. They want the results, but they don't want to do anything new. And so what it says right there is the truth. Most people, and you'll notice this as people come into this group, most people give up before they even try. They just give up because, oh, I'm gonna here they say they want to be happy, they want to be more peaceful, they want to get rid of their anxiety, they want to be healthier, their relationships are all, I just want peace. And I give them everything for free. And I say, look, I can't fix you, but here's everything I know that you can fix yourself. See, here's the thing. I'm not looking for people. If you're the kind of person who's looking for somebody to fix you, I'm not your guy. Nobody's going to fix you. Nobody's your guy, right? Nobody is going to fix you. But if you're looking to fix yourself, this is the place to be. And the way you do it is you take control of whatever your problem is, you make a plan, make it simple, and then most importantly is you back up that plan with new actions and new habits. Because once they become habit, you don't have to think about them anymore. You're just a healthy person now. Whatever you're trying to create, whether it's business, relationships, money, health, anything. This is the 3 steps to abundance. Take control, learn and establish a plan, and activate new habits, new actions and habits that support the plan. It's really that simple. All right. Finally, we're going to talk about food. Food is a really important subject. I'm going to take this off. Food is a really, really important subject. And it's really important that you get it right, because food, more than anything else that we've talked about, is integrated into your subconscious. When you see a family, let's say next time you go to a restaurant and you see a family, and you see the dad who's just eating these massive amounts of food, just massive amounts, and you see these 5, 6, 7-year-old kids eating these big giant burgers and shoving French fries and drinking, refills on their Coke. When they're 5, 6, 7 and they're doing that, that's a subconscious thing that's going to go on for the rest of their lives. That's their relationship with food. It's very difficult to change your relationship with food because it's very deeply ingrained in your subconscious. Every family event you've ever had revolves around food. Oh, eat, more, 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 more. Keep eating, keep eating. What are we going to eat now? Anyone want ice cream? That's every family event. Most families revolve around food because people don't like to connect with each other. They don't like to talk, so they use food as a substitute, right? It's deeply, deeply, deeply ingrained in our subconscious. It's very difficult to change. Now, I know for a fact that there's several people on this call who are past that transition point and have, really mastered their food and mastered their relationship with food. But most people walking in through the door have lots of all kinds of subconscious issues with food and their relationship with food. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is I'm going to give you 4 tips to change your relationship with food. None of them are easy, by the way. They all require new habits. Number 1 is 3 parts. Eat better, eat less, and chew your food thoroughly. Eat better, eat less, and chew more thoroughly. Number 1, eat better. Get rid of all sugar, get rid of all processed foods, Get rid of all foods that you don't know where it came from. Get rid of foods in plastic bags and boxes. Eat natural foods as much as you can. And know where the food comes from and know what the ingredients are and know which stores sell food. I call, you can buy fruit. I live in Georgia, so we have Publix. You buy, fruit at Publix. I call that corporate fruit. Do you ever eat a corporate cantaloupe? It's like the tiny little bit of orange, and it's not even a cantaloupe. These poor kids, they don't even know what fruit is anymore. It's corporate fruit and corporate vegetables, right? You have to know about your food. If I were elected president, the very first thing I would do is I would connect every community with its food source. We have completely lost our connection. You have to eat much higher quality food. Number two, again, I don't, this doesn't apply to everybody who's watching. You're eating at least twice as much food as you're supposed to be eating. Your body needs probably half, maybe even less than half. I don't know how much you eat, but it could be even less than half of what you eat now. You don't want to eat more than your body needs. You have to eat much lower quantities. And then you have to chew your food thoroughly. And let me explain, because this is something you're going to try. I want you to check. First of all, I want you to check in on Discord and let me know how all of these habits go tonight, tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day. But chewing is one of the most difficult because it's subconscious. You're chewing subconsciously. And what I'm asking you to do is to wake yourself up and pay attention, not just to your chewing, but every single bite. When you eat, when I was a kid, I grew up in New York, 2 slices and a Coke. I was 10 years old, 2 slices and a Coke, two giant slices of pizza. Take the first bite, a little triangle part, my favorite part. Take that first bite, chew it 2 or 3 times. The slice of pizza would never leave my hand. 3 or 4 times. And then that next bite would push the next one down. And then the next bite would push the next one down. And in 90 seconds, I was done with the first slice. Then I have a big slug of, Coke. Then I take the next one and I'd eat 2 gigantic slices of pizza. A little kid, sick. I watched my grandson, they gave him a whole big slice of pizza and he took like 3 bites. And I said, that's really enough. Like he's 5 years old, a little kid. He's got a tiny little stomach. They made him eat the whole pizza. Like the whole I felt so bad. And it's his life, so I can't really feel that bad. And he's got good parents, but you must chew more thoroughly. If you need a number, chew 30 times. When I was a kid, my mom would say 32 times keeps your stomach from danger, then you can stay up and watch The Lone Ranger. So if you need a number, chew 30 times. You can also use your inner sight. So anytime you take a bite, put your inner sight inside your mouth and watch the food you can feel it with your tongue. Your tongue has inner sight. You can see inside. You literally have inner sight. And if you still feel chunks, just keep chewing, keep chewing, keep chewing, keep chewing until it's a liquidy pulp. And do you know why you do that? Because when you swallow big chunks of food or you swallow fully chewed food, when you chew your food thoroughly, it puts hardly any stress on your digestive system. Your body is taking in more liquid and it's all chewed. It's already pre-digested. As it comes, you'll also feel, by the way, when you make that first swallow, it'll get stuck right about, it doesn't get stuck, but you'll feel it right about here. And about 3 seconds later, it moves down. That's when you pick up your fork and take the next bite. Not while you're chewing. You take a bite, then you stick your fork, you're hovering with the next bite, waiting, to chew really fast, and then you're hovering with the next bite, and you shove the next one in, and that one pushes down. You got to stop doing that. You have to eat more slowly. You have to chew much more thoroughly. This is going to be the biggest challenge for most people. I find it really, for me too, I find it really interesting that this one thing is almost impossible for a lot of people to do. Chew more thoroughly. Chew your food into a liquidy pulp so that you don't put any stress on your digestive system. Because when you're chewing big chunks, I don't care if you're eating healthy, when you chew big chunks of broccoli and you just, shove big, bite your broccoli twice and swallow it, when you do that, it's healthy food, but it puts a lot of stress on your digestive system. And that digestive system has to work, has to push everything through. Your intestines turn like 30 times and it's working, and it never fully digests. Chew this is the best advice I can give you. This is what I mean, change your relationship to food. Number two, this is the most important thing I want you to remember. The digestive system is the boss of your life. That's the boss. You're not the boss. Your digestive system is the boss. If you just get this urge to eat, to stand up. We talked about getting rid of sugar, and the way you get rid of one of the ways you get rid of sugar is you replace it, you stock your refrigerator with all kinds of good things to eat that don't have sugar, but you still don't need to eat if you're not hungry. So you have to start to give up control of what you're doing, because most of the time we eat through nervous habit. So you have to give up that control and say, does my body need food? And 90% of the time, the answer is no. Did anyone ever watch Naked and Afraid? My son and daughter-in-law came to live with us for about a year, a couple of years ago, and we watched, season after season of Naked and Afraid. And what I realized is you only really need to eat about once every 3 days. Now, I'm not suggesting you do that, but you really only need to eat about a nice meal. Like sometimes I'll eat a nice meal with some chicken and rice and vegetables, and I'm finished with it. And I go, man, I'm good for the today and tomorrow. I don't really need to eat anymore. Of course, I will, but I don't need to. Your body doesn't need anywhere near as much food. The digestive system is the boss. When you treat your digestive system well, that's essentially the machine that's inside your body. That's the thing that does the most work. And the other thing I should say when I say chew more thoroughly, I want to say one more thing. When you swallow your food as a liquidy pulp, you're not putting any strain or stress on your digestive system. And when you do stress your digestive system from overeating or not chewing your food or eating a bunch of garbage food, when you stress your digestive system, what happens is all your vital energy gets pulled into your digestive system 24 hours a day. People have been eating unhealthy from the time they were 2 years old. And so their body spends all that time, all its energy in digesting your food. You don't want that. You want to just put the right foods in the right amount, chew them very thoroughly, swallow it, and move on with your day, and let your digestive system do its job. Don't overload it, and don't feed it bad stuff. The digestive system is the boss. I talked about this briefly, but connect with your food source is number 3. Change your relationship to food. Number 1 was eat better, eat less, and chew thoroughly. Number 2, the digestive system is the boss. And number 3, connect with your food source. Know where your food comes from. Be careful about where you buy your food. If I have a Trader Joe's near me, I have a Publix, I have a Whole Foods, we have another off-brand supermarket. We buy certain things from each store. I don't just go to, the supermarket like most people do and just, fill the cart up with the same stuff every week. I now have gotten to, okay, I buy my fruit is usually better with this store. I feel better about where the broccoli looks healthier. So I buy it from Trader Joe's. There are things I buy at each place. Connect with your food source as best you can. Obviously, if you can grow your own food, I guess that's the ultimate, but I'm certainly not there yet. But like I said, if I were president of the United States, everybody would know where their food comes from. And I'm going to give a little half rant here. We're the greatest nation in the world. One of the things that makes us the greatest land in the world is our farmland. Our farmland could feed the entire world. We have the greatest, most productive farmland. The earth, the soil is the number of square miles of farmland that we have is far beyond it, way, way, way beyond any country. Europe are tiny little countries. They have to import food. China has a zillion people, and hardly any of their land is farmland. So they have to import food from us, right? So we have the most farmland, and yet our people are eating out of boxes and plastic bags. And I think it's disgusting. I think it's just a terrible thing. So there's my half rant. If I were president, that would change. And I think that'd be probably the most important thing I would change. And number 4 is shopping and meal planning. You have to plan out your meals. You can't eat by accident. Oh, we don't have anything in the fridge. Let's go to Wendy's. You can't do that. You have to have your meals planned out. And what you're going to find is when you start to plan your meals out, you start to actually save money and you start to actually budget because you're not going to buy things that you don't need. You may buy it and realize that it just sits in the fridge and goes to waste. You also have to know that certain things, when you buy them, are only going to last for 3 or 4 days, whereas other things, when you buy them, might last for 2 or 3 weeks. Me personally, and I don't comment on anybody else's diet. So this is my diet. I make I get like like a pound plastic container. I make a pound a week, and sometimes it lasts me a little bit more than a week of tuna and a pound of egg salad. And so most of my meals are, toasting some bread or toasting a bagel and either putting some, tuna or egg salad on it. And just a big piece of bread with a bunch of egg salad, that's food for the whole day for me. And when you start to realize that you don't need to eat as much food, you don't buy as much. And you start to be more intelligent about your shopping and your meal planning. So all of this is important. Like I just say, when I say change your relationship to food, I mean it's like a tornado. It gets wider and wider. It starts to cover more and more things. And shopping and meal planning is going to kind of really broaden your thinking and start to be intentional about that aspect of your life. And that allows you to be intentional about many other aspects of life. So all these things are really, really good to do. Any thoughts, comments? All right, I'm about to get to the enlightenment part, so here we go. All right, here we go. So, like I say, it's a bait and switch. You came here for health. Now you're going to get some enlightenment. No, that's not what I wanted. I wanted this. The Shaolin, for those of you that don't know about the Shaolin is a temple in China. It still exists today, but it's not, it's only a shadow of what it once was. The Shaolin was a Buddhist monastery. It started in the 400s, a very enlightened, one of the direct lineages, like, I don't know, maybe the 10th first student of the Buddha was a guy named Bodhidharma. He traveled to China. The emperor of China was so impressed with what Bodhidharma knew as a Buddhist that he said, I'll grant you any wish. And he said, I want this giant tract of land in the mountains. He started a temple called the Shaolin Temple. It was about 496 AD. They really hit their stride in terms of enlightenment from about maybe 1200 to about 1700. That's when they really started to develop real fighting skills. I could tell you some stories about, I will tell you one story about the Shaolin. In the 1720s, did you ever see the Disney movie Mulan? And one of the scenes they go, let's get down to business and defeat the Huns, right? Well, the Huns were invading China from the north. This was in about 17 something, 1730s. The Huns were invading China from the north, and the Chinese army was getting decimated. And they were just recruiting these kids from China, sending them up, and they were getting destroyed by the Huns. So all the towns in the north and the cities in the north were getting destroyed, and the Chinese army was losing. So the emperor of China sent an emissary to the Shaolin Temple, and he said, "We need your help. We need you to defend China from the north." So the Shaolin agreed to do it. This is a true story. They sent 125 monks and nuns, because Shaolin also trained women, monks and nuns, the best fighters they had. And they were just dressed in, like, just street clothes, beggar clothes. They didn't carry any weapons. They smuggled in a bunch of bow staffs. Um, so, just looked like pieces of wood, and they were just blended in with the society. They went up into the north, and they just went into the towns, and they just started gathering intelligence, and they would meet every night, and one by one they would start picking off some of the Huns who were by themselves. So if there's three of them over there, boom, the Shaolin would neutralize them, and then the next day they'd get a group of 8 and neutralize them. So they were doing like a lot of rear guard action. Well, eventually they had a big battle. 5,000 highly trained soldiers were defeated by 125 Buddhist monks and nuns. Not one of them was killed. When they came back, they were superior fighters in every which way. I'll show you just one trick that they did. When they came back, a couple of years later, that emperor died, and the emperor that took over was a child, and the ministers convinced that child that the Shaolin were a threat. And I want to say it was 1747 or 1753. The Shaolin temple was completely destroyed, and only five of them fled, and they were chased, for years, but five of them actually escaped. And one of them started the branch of martial arts that I talked about, Wing Chun, but not to say there's anything wrong with other martial arts. But Wing Chun is directly from the Shaolin Temple. It's not Shaolin fighting, but the theories of energy and flow are from the Shaolin. But anyway, the Shaolin were the greatest fighters in the world. So I'm going to share with you, they were able to do two things. They were able to separate. They studied Zen Buddhism, so all of them were enlightened, and they had the ability, or even perfected the ability, to use their mind to move different parts of their body. So let me give you an example. Uh, do this. Just put your thumb and your forefinger together. And don't press. Just put them together. Okay? They have this concept called yi. Yi is like mental glue, right? And so now imagine you just like slobber some yi in there. Yi, now your mind is in here. Your mind is now in the yi. And now watch what happens, right? Double the pressure. Double the pressure again. Double the pressure again. And I want you to notice, don't use any muscles. It's the mind that's making it happen. The body is simply responding. It's doing whatever it needs to do subconsciously. Double it again. Multiply it by 10. You don't have to use any muscles. Does anyone feel that? You feel that sensation, like this intense thing, without using any muscles, without straining at all. And I'll show you how to make a fist. Put yi right here on the last two fingers, your pinky and your ring finger. Just put some yi right there and just close it up and press the yi press your fingers against the palm. The other two fingers can be relaxed. And then put some yi right here on your thumb and lay it across. And now you've got a fist, and you can make it as tight as you want without any effort. Just nice and loose, relaxed, totally relaxed. No other muscles are working. And this thing, boom, when you punch someone with that, man, that's going to hurt. I promise you. And they would punch with these two knuckles, not the edge knuckles, but the two middle knuckles. And you just punch like that. And they were able to actually, just using their mind, were able to transfer energy. They're not really transferring chi, they're transferring mental awareness right here. And you could hold this fist for 1,000 years and not get tired because you're not using any muscles. It's just, and by the way, you could set it there and forget it. And an hour later, it's still going to be just like that without spending any muscles. It's just you put your mind, it's turning your mind onto something. Okay. The next thing they were able to do was the opposite. Does anyone experience that? Like you felt like that pressing together or making a fist? Yeah. Can't hear you, Shelley, but it sounds good.
I'm gonna have to work on that. No, I don't quite get where I'm getting my yi from.
Okay, so yi is just okay. Let's do it again. Take these two fingers, and all it is there's just you're just putting your mind right there. I don't know have the words to explain it. You just put your
Oh,
mind there, and you just
oh.
direct your mind there. It's like glue, and now those two are stuck together. And now I'm going to tell you to double the pressure. Don't use any muscles. Double the pressure again. Your body will figure out how to do it. Double the pressure again. And
I
every
got
other
it
muscle in
now.
your body is relaxed, except the yi is actually very powerful. And when you make a fist, just push these last two against there. That's where all your mental concentration goes. You put some concentration on your thumb, and that sticks to your hand. And now you've got a fist without any effort. And they were able to fight without any effort. So everything flowing, and they would actually fight. So they would train fighting, and they were able to put their yi in different places. They were just incredible what they were able to do. Make sense? Now I'm going to show you
Thank
the
you. Yeah.
opposite. I'm going to show you the opposite. The opposite is called sung. Sung means to let something go. It means relaxation. I don't know the exact translation, but it's to relax, to let it go. Okay. So one of the things that the Shaolin did is, you would know, as any if they were worth their salt as great fighters, they could do something with their right hand, and they could also do it equally well with their left hand. Mere mortals, if we're right-handed, you know, I could play tennis with my right hand. I couldn't I couldn't play tennis at all with my left hand. I could punch with my right hand, but my left hand's pretty weak. But the Shaolin were equal from both sides. If they could kick with their right, they could kick with their left. If they could hit you with a bow staff here, they could hit you with a bow staff the other way. They had everything back and forth. And the way they would do it is when you're training with your right hand, let's say you have a bow staff or a sword or whatever it is you're training with in the martial arts. You're training, and as you're training, your offhand is just naturally, you're not paying attention to it, it's just doing whatever it's doing. But then they would put the thing in their left hand. And if you and I put it in our left hand, it's all awkward. It's totally different. What they did, and you can do this right now, is they would just shut off the right arm, just let it hang. And then they would just, it's called sung. It's gone. The right arm doesn't exist. It's gone. And they were able to train with the left hand with all, and the right arm is
Wow.
just gone. It's just turned off. And they were able to
Right.
do anything. You could write with their left hand, do artwork with your left hand. And the only way, and the way you would do it, like my arm is off. Remember we did that meditation where we rose above into the light. And I said, look down on your body. And what's the one thing I told you to notice? Your body does not move. It has no mind of its own. Your body, this arm will stay here until I tell it to come out. It's called sung. You can do it with both arms. And it won't move unless you tell it to move. Right? So this is something you can work with. But now I want to take it a level higher. And it goes to the essence of the Taoist principle of action through no action. What they were able to do, and the Taoists understood this, and the Shaolin understood this. What the Taoists were able to do when they say, when you read the Tao Te Ching and it says action through no action, effort through no effort, you know what I mean, right? What does that really mean? They were able to apply sung, relaxation, disconnection to everything, including the mind. It
Wow.
won't come back until you tell it to come back. Just let it go. And what you realize when you're in this state for a few minutes, you really don't want to stand up because whatever it was I was going to do wasn't going to be worth it. It was just going to be a lot of effort. See, we operate, we're in like constant forward motion, constant, you know, autopilot, doing stuff, and we have which we are not aware of it. We're just there's this force inside of us that's just always pushing us to do the next thing, pushing us to do the next thing. Everything that we're doing,
Never
99% of what we're
gosh. I
doing is
meant my desk.
just a waste. Was no point in doing it. It's just you just feel like you have to do something because you're quiet now. Oh, I got to get up. I got to check my email. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to go eat. Just sung. Not just your body, but the mind. You can have your eyes open, closed. There's absolutely no reason to move because whatever it was you were going to do was just a habit. It was just something you were going to do anyway. It really wasn't going to do anything. So by doing this, you realize this is called action through no action. You can get things done by simply not doing anything because whatever you were going to do wasn't really going to get it done anyway. It was just going to be work, just more autopilot, just plowing ahead. Now, sung, did anyone feel that? Did anyone feel like how everything just dropped? Right? You don't need to study this stuff for decades, people. This is the easiest stuff in the world. Once you just pluck out the actual essence of Taoism, it's really easy. You don't have to be a Taoist for 20 years to understand sung. You don't have to be a Shaolin fighter to understand how to make a proper fist. So here's the point. Sung is great, meaning, well, if I don't do anything, how's anything really going to happen? How am I going to get my food? Good question. This is why the Taoists also embraced Confucianism, because sung works when everybody else is doing sung. If you're the only one doing it, then nothing's going to happen. But if everyone is doing it, let's say I'm a pig farmer, but when I'm done with pig farming, I practice sung. And this is really important. When I say have a meditation routine, when you have your meditation routine at night, you have a cutoff time, say 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever your cutoff time is, and it's sung. Everything goes away. And you just focus on your family, on your journaling, on your stretching, on your meditation. Everything else goes away. Just let it all go and create an entirely new routine doing exactly what you want to do, not pulled by all these old habits. But sung works when everybody in the, this is why Confucianism was an important element, or a cooperative element with Taoism, because the society needed structure. It needed order. Everybody needed to do what they were supposed to do. And if everybody did what they supposed to do and nothing, and no more and no less, everything would work fine. And life was effortless in ancient China. It was effortless. And by the way, once you practice this sung, which you should practice tonight, you realize you can stand up and still be just literally almost like you're using yi. I'm going to stand up and go to the bathroom. I'm not going to put any effort into it. I'm just going to put my intention on going to the bath. My body will walk, whatever it has to do. The body will respond to the mind. The body has no mind of its own. When you're not in sung, the body is doing something. See, what we did when we rose high like that and your body just dropped and you were in light consciousness, that was sung, except you were outside your body. What I just shared with you is this exact same. You can take this light consciousness and now inside your body, as long as your body is relaxed and let go. Does that make sense? I tried to explain it to my wife. I got all tangled up. So I think I explained it better this time. Did anyone, any thoughts, comments? This is just doing this, just stopping. When you do this, you don't feel like getting up again. Why would I do anything? Because it's just pointless. It's just, I'm just doing stuff. It just turns off the motor, switches off the key, and you're just completely relaxed and you're completely aware of what's going on. And I'll talk more about this for people that want to talk more about it. We can practice it. But if you do it, well, let's do it now. So when I say sung, first of all, I'm disconnecting. Every single bone in my body is disconnected. The only thing that moves is the diaphragm and the lungs a little bit, not a deep breathing exercise. And you're also shutting off the mind. You just turn the off switch, just like you turn off your arms and your hands and turn your mind off. And if you keep your eyes open, you'll realize you're completely aware, completely aware. You can do this while you're driving. And every time you drive, when you remember to be in this mindset, it's like you're seeing everything. You're seeing, oh, I didn't know there was a such and such store here. I didn't know that. Oh, wow, I never saw that before. Because you're seeing everything. When you're in your house, you're seeing, but because your mind isn't going a million miles an hour, your body isn't constantly going. Remember that meditation? We're going 100 miles an hour. Where are we going? What are we doing? So what is all that? Where are we going? What is the point? And that's what you start to realize when you're in this meditative, or not even a meditative state. When you switch everything off, you realize, what was I doing? What was the point? What is the point? And sung does not involve television. It does not involve eating. It just involves just being right where you are, walking to where you want to walk, do what you want to do, journaling. And now you're in sung, and now I'm journaling. I'm paying 100% attention to what I'm writing. Everything's flowing. And you can literally, what the Shaolin understood, they understood this both physically and mentally. They could put energy in certain spots, or mind power, whatever you want to call it. I don't have the right words. It's called yi. So they could put yi into a spot, or they could put yi into their elbow. So if they're going to hit you with the elbow, oh, it's going to freaking hurt because all the yi is right there. So they had the ability to do that. Or if they could block, they literally could block a sword by putting yi here. They literally could do that. They could transform their own bodies. They could do incredible things, but they also understood, as did Taoists in China, understood Sung is off. Everything's off, and especially the mind. That's the most important thing. And as soon as you feel yourself that urge to move, where did that come from? And what were you really going to do? That's better than just blissing out, just being. This is this idea of action through no action, being in a state of non-being, trying without trying, effort without effort. But again, it only works. It works. Wait a minute. It works in your personal life. To be like this 24 hours a day, like they were in China, requires that everybody else in the society be this way. That's what our group is about. That's what this community is about, because everyone's doing the same thing. And you'll see as people come in, everybody's in their own world. They're spinning around 100 miles an hour. You can hear it. They're really good people. They're really nice people. They're just not enlightened yet. They just haven't learned all the things that you're learning. They haven't gone through those four basic building blocks: balance, health, the thought matrix, the abundance blueprint. And then that's it. Just this is enlightenment. Recognizing this is part of it. This is recognizing who you truly are. You don't have to stand up and you don't have to turn on the TV. You don't have to go get something to eat. You just don't have to. There's no reason for it. And when you do drive or you do cook, you can put all of your mind into the whole experience of cooking. I love cooking. I think it's just, to me, it's like meditation. It makes me balanced. I love it. I get everything all out. I get the plates, the forks, I get everything out first. I get every single ingredient, the frying pans. Like I don't start doing anything until everything is out, because that helps me think forward as to all the steps I'm going to take. And then, I even get the oven mitt out. I'll even take the oven mitt because I know in 10 minutes I'm going to need the oven mitt. Like I get everything out because that helps me think through it, and it helps me be aware and present during the whole thing. And I just cook. I just love cooking. I love doing it. It's a very balanced thing for me. So anyway, and I love shopping now. I love shopping for food. Anything else is Amazon for me, but yeah, I love shopping for food because now I'm thinking I got my meals before I leave. I open the thing. Okay, we need tomatoes. We need this. Only have a half a bag of broccoli left. Let's get some more of that. So I kind of plan it out, save money, meal prep, the whole thing. So I love my life now. And so you want to do is you want to stay in balance. And what the truth is that we're so far out of balance, and you can see it in the people around you. It's really easy to see other people, how out of balance they are. It's very hard to see how out of balance you are. It's just really tough to see that because you have blind spots, because it's all habitual. It's all subconscious, but it's really easy to see like she's a nice person, but she's definitely got some issues, man. Like she's going 100 miles an hour to I don't know where. You'll see it. You know what I'm talking about. But keep that picture in mind. You're going 100 miles an hour. Why? Where? Watch everybody else. They're just rushing down the river 100 miles an hour. What we're doing is everyone's rushing down the river. We're rushing down the river too. What we're doing here is climbing up onto the side and saying, I'm not. No, no, no. No, no, no. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to watch them do that. I'm going to separate myself. I am going to quiet my own mind. I'm not going to just go mindlessly through the rest of my life. Yeah, Wu Wei. It's is that I don't know exactly how that translates, but it's probably action through no action. I'm sure that's exactly what Wu Wei means. And it's the essential principle of Taoism. And and until you experience that complete sung, like I mean the whole mind shuts off. It doesn't mean you're shut off. You're still a being of light, and you're still observing, and you still see and appreciate everything that's around you. You're just not doing anything about it. You're just not engaging in the outer world. You're just here observing, happy. Whatever happens passes by you, doesn't affect you. So this is a really good practice. This practice, I'll call it the practice of sung or quieting, but it's very related to your health, because if you're not healthy, if you're not have energy flowing, and you're habitually doing all these bad things with your health, and you have bad health habits, this is not really something that's really possible for you. Maybe it's possible, but it's first. I personally, I think food is the most important thing that most people have to work on. And if you've beyond that, if you've broken through that, that's awesome. But that's probably some of the biggest things that changed for me and my health were the energy and changing my relationship with food. Everything else, and tremendous amounts of weight come off, and all kinds of things. And the ropes and the bow staff, those are important to me too. Uh,
Hi, it's me again. Oh, did somebody else want to talk?
no, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Um, okay. I'm so sorry. I found a giant stick in the yard 2 days ago, and it's going to be a perfect bow staff, Alan.
There
I
you
have it
go.
right outside. I at first decided it was a gigantic magic wand, but now I see its real purpose is a staff. I'm so excited. And it going to be so easy, but we have to do all of this hard work in order for us to just be these people that we want to be. So we're not, we're already there, but it just takes this self-reliance and this work and this packet. I'm rushing really fast at 100 miles an hour over here, but it's because I'm excited about the triangle at the top, the the life's purpose. And anyway, I am so excited and I've learned so much just today. I can't even tell you. Part of it's over my head. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Like I said earlier, I think I was underselling it because as I was preparing for it, I thought, oh, this is going to be pretty good. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and these topics are not. I understand that not everybody's ready for it. Some people, just prefer a different path, but this is some pretty deep stuff. When you change your relationship with food, if that's a problem for you, which it is for most people, that changes everything. That changes who you are because it's so deeply rooted in your subconscious. Anyone else have any thoughts or comments? Questions? Comments? iPhone, I forgot your name. Is it Sonia?
Yes, that's right.
What did you think, Sonia? Not to put you on the spot.
Um,
Not to
I
put you
really
on the
liked how you structured the whole thing, so it was easy for me to kind of keep up, and that's how my brain works, is like different parts and then subparts. It is a lot of like I guess new life changes that I would have to make, so it's a little overwhelming, but I think that like the spinal stretch and the breathing, those are easy points to begin at.
Yeah, and I would also tell you, there's no way to sugarcoat it. I'm going to throw 1,000 things at you, and the purpose is to get you totally out of your comfort zone,
Yep.
to wake you up, because we're all in the matrix. We're all doing the same things over and over and over again, pursuing these imaginary things that the outer world has set up for us. Got to go to school, you got to get married, you got to buy a house, then you got to take vacations, you got to have kids, you got to take your vacations at Disney World. And if you do all these things, then somehow at the end you'll be happy. But that's not the path. That's a path that other people have set up. We've got to wake ourselves up out of the matrix, which means all of these negative habits have to go and we have to replace them with enlightened habits, things that make us healthier, things that make us happier, things that make us feel lighter, things that make us feel more in control and more confident about where we're going in the future, more meaning in life, more values and principles. That's where we
Mhm.
need to go, not just floating down this river mindlessly wherever life takes us. You've got to pull yourself out, wake yourself up, and really purify your whole being so that those people down the river, I feel bad for them, but I'm telling you can come up, but a lot of people try to come up and they just want to jump right back in the river because it's their comfort zone. So the goal is, I know, of course, between just in the meditation class, I'm throwing more than most people can handle. The thought matrix, the abundance blueprint, just let it all in. Your mind can handle all of it.
Mhm.
It's just not all on the same day. It's just not all in the same. I remember my son in baseball, I told him this one thing he was doing wrong, and he kept doing it over and over. I'm kid you not, 3 years later, he gets the ball, does exactly what I told him to do, looks over to the dugout and goes, I got you, Pops. I've been
Ah.
listening to you. I know you've been telling me for 3 years. I know. I've been listening. He just couldn't do it, right? He just wasn't ready for it. So I just take it all in,
Mhm.
overwhelm yourself, journal. Most important, go to the group, go to the community and say, hey, this is difficult. Or, hey, I did these 3 things today. I never would have thought I could have done them. 6 months, if you had told me I was going to stop eating sugar, never would have thought. And if anyone has a sugar issue, we'll run a whole separate thing on how to quit sugar or any other thing
I,
you want to quit or any other habit you want to create. I'll also promise if anybody asks me and reminds me over the next couple of days, I'll make some videos about the bow staff and the ropes because it's just it's just so healthy. That's all I can say. It means so much because the way I
does
won't go into it. I'll explain that when I do the videos. Go ahead.
that okay? When you first started talking about how you spin it, I can do that, whatever, swing it around, whatever. But I also was thinking about the toroidal, that shape. Do you think that has something to do with it? If you spin
It's
it
like
in that
cotton candy.
eight
It's like when you
shape?
do this, it's like the cotton candy machines. They just spin like
Yeah,
that. That's the way I feel about it. And it's creating energy. And it's creating an energy
yeah.
pattern. And that energy is going right up your arms, right into your shoulders, right into your body. And it balances you out. It's an energy stick. That's how I look at it.
I'm gonna
It's
be on the energy stick in about 15 minutes.
yeah, it's creating a flow of energy. I'll make some videos about it, but yeah, I just need someone who wants to learn it, and then I
I
that would
do.
motivate me to make more videos about it.
Thank you. It's great.
All
Really
right.
good.
I'll honor your time. If there's no other comments or questions, let's light it up in Discord. Tell everyone you were here and tell everyone what they missed. And yeah, and what you're looking forward to do tomorrow. You've got to still do your meditations. If those of you that have been through the meditation, if you haven't been through the meditation class, you've got to go Sunday morning and get yourself plugged into that. Um, if you have, go again on Sunday morning. I want to light that place up too. I want to have hundreds of people one day, thousands in that meditation class every Sunday morning. It's a great way to start your Sunday.